All right, today we're going to talk about the greatest of all time, the undefeated, the one and only Johnny Bones Jones. Yes, I know he's got one loss on his record, but that doesn't count. It was a disqualification, and he was absolutely mauling Matt Hamill before the disqualification came. The question is, though, the conversation is, what is Jon Jones doing? Because he's tweeting up a storm. And if you look at it and you're a skeptic, you would say that he's trying to duck Tom Aspinall. I know he's not doing that, but that's what it looks like because he's calling out Alex Pereira. He's talking about a fight. He's even hyping up a fight with Alex Pereira and trying to lay down the foundation as to why it makes more sense in terms of legacy, pay-per-view draws, and all the rest of it. And the reality is on Twitter or X, people are even kind of agreeing with him, which is madness. Madness. We know the history. We know the timeline. Jones got injured. Jones versus Stipe was matched up. Then Sergey comes in versus Tom for the interim belt, and Tom should be next in line. But he's not next in line. The fight with Stipe has been set in stone for quite some time. And even though I'm a great friend and admirer and supporter of Tom, this is just the natural flow of events. Jones versus Stipe is going to go down. According to Jon Jones on Twitter, a date for that fight, Jones versus Stipe, is set. That is going to go down sometime soon. I would say probably in about 4 or 5 months, though. Let's be honest. He said the date is set, but he's going to leave it to the boss man, Dana White, to make the announcement. So stay tuned for that one. I hope that one does come soon. So let's talk about Jon Jones. Let's talk about the tweets that he's saying, because this is what he's put. He says, if Alex Pereira became the heavyweight champion, would you guys consider him the GOAT? Being back in the gym has got me thinking differently. That after the Stipe fight, maybe the next biggest move I could possibly make would be Alex Pereira. This killer has already defeated so many champions and he's already considered a legend to millions around the world. The most massive fight the UFC could make. Give Alex a chance to avenge all those great Brazilian champions that I've defeated. And then he goes on and on and on. It would be absolutely massive. A guy with the chance to become a 3-division champ. A GOAT versus the actual GOAT. Same age, different strength. No one could argue that this would be the biggest fight in MMA history. There's absolutely no fight that generates a payday like that. The marketing would be insane. And he goes on and on and on, responding to tweets and all the rest of it. He even gets asked why he responds to the trolls. And you're allowed to respond to trolls. I do it. People talk shit, then they get a virtual bang. Chat shit, get banged all day long. Fair play to Jon Jones for that. So what is he doing? Listen, you probably saw the footage. Tom goes up to where Jones is doing a signing, asks him to fight him, puts his hand on the shoulder. Jones removes that. There's a little bit of alpha male, a little bit of bravado shit going on right there. And Jones avoided the question. He said, we'll see.
Maybe one day.
And now he's talking about Alex Pereira. Tom Aspinall was talking about this recently, and I think he's nailed it, right? He said, Jon is just playing games.
But right now, the guy's playing games.
I think that's what he's doing. He's trying to mess with Tom Aspinall. I honestly don't think that Jon Jones is really angling for a fight with Alex Pereira. And even though he makes some solid cases, because Pereira is a gigantic star. He is a 2-weight division champion. He is one of the most accredited kickboxers that we've seen in recent memory. So on paper, he's obviously a very, very worthy task. And he's a gigantic light heavyweight as well. So going up to heavyweight wouldn't be too much of an ask. But he would get his ass beat. Simple as that, right? Look at what Jon Jones did to Cyril Gahn. It would be a very similar affair in terms of stylistic matchups. Now, granted, every fight's different and you never know. Pereira could land that shot. But what is he doing? Is he really going for that? I don't think so. Now, Tom came out recently. He gave a little interview. He was talking about this. He was actually filling in for me on TNT Sports. What you doing, Tom? Trying to take my job, trying to take everything I worked for.
You're taking everything I work for, motherfucker.
And he said he thinks Jon Jones is playing games, and until he stops playing games, he's not going to talk about him any further.
As I said, we can chat about Jon if and when he ever signs a contract with my name on the other side of it. Because right now, let's be honest, it's not looking very likely.
And I don't blame him. That's what Jon's doing, right? He's saying basically, I've been at the top of this mountain for a very, very long time. I've been the champion for years and years and years, beating generations of champions and contenders along the way. I took 3 years off to rebuild my body to come back as a heavyweight, big and strong, and maybe with a bit of a flabby belly, but he came back successfully and became the champ, okay? And I'm not talking shit about a flabby belly, right? Hey, fair play. Takes all sorts. I think what he's saying is, listen, I'm the man, I'm the Don, I'm the champ, I'm the GOAT, I'm the undefeated one. I get to call the shots. So right now, just to piss you off, just to drive Tom crazy, he's playing mind games. He's talking about Alex Pereira. I mean, what else has he said here? You actually think that me fighting Tom would be more massive than Alex and I colliding? Tom only matters in the UK. Newsflash. Pereira is one of the most polarizing figures the sport has ever seen. Tom's a contender who won a belt against another contender. We had to save Madison Square Garden's main event. I'm thinking dollar signs, legacy, big picture here, not what UK fans are dying to see. I literally just went through this with the French fans. So, legacy? In terms of the legacy of Jon Jones, I'll just throw this out there straight away, and this isn't me being friends or buddies or an admirer of Tom Aspinall. In terms of legacy, if Jon Jones gets through Stipe, and that's a big if, by the way, you can't just forget about Stipe like he's not one of the greatest we've ever seen at heavyweight. But if he does, let's assume he does, if he doesn't fight Tom Aspinall, the legacy will be that he was ducking Tom Aspinall. If he goes after Alex Pereira, a man that on paper, come on, is a tailor-made opponent. Yes, Pereira is one of the biggest stars in the sport. Yes, I would agree that right now, I do believe that that would generate more sales. It would be a very interesting storyline because Alex Pereira would be the first person to challenge for 3 different belts and potentially be the champion of 3 weight classes. I mean, that would be phenomenal. And what a story and what a style he's got. And he's very, very exciting. Just headlined UFC 300 and destroyed Jamal Hill. So yeah, on paper, for those reasons, it's an exciting and tantalizing matchup. And the UFC, I'm sure, would love to put that fight on because it would generate a ton of money for everybody involved, right? But if we're calling it proper, we're calling it straight down the line, Tom Aspinall is the guy that has to be next. I do believe that Tom Aspinall is the only person in the heavyweight division that will give him a fight. I've said before that he'll make short work of Jon Jones. And that maybe was a bit disrespectful towards Jon Jones and what he's accomplished throughout his career. And that's not what I was trying to do. I'm just such a believer in Tom. I did say that Jones couldn't hold a candle to Tom Aspinall, meaning they're not even in the same kind of ballpark. That was a crazy statement, right? That was on a post-fight show after UFC London when he just absolutely demolished his last opponent. So I was very high on him. There's a bit of recency bias that going on there. And on Twitter, the responses have been kind of varied. Like Ben Davies says here, why if you have the belt, aren't you going to fight the interim champ? And that's the number one point, isn't it? If you are the champ, you have to take on the interim champ. Jon does owe that obligation. The only way that he shouldn't fight him is if he retires. And I've said this many times. If he does retire, it looks like he's dodging Tom, which would be crazy because I don't think having the career that he's had, the amount of time he's been at the top of that mountain, been the champion of the world for so long, that he's going to be in the business of ducking people. But if there's one person you want to duck, it's Tom Aspinall. Jon's a big dude. Of course he is. And he's come up to heavyweight as well. But as I said before, I was joking about the flabby belly. But he is a little softer. Tom's 6'5". He's built like a brick shithouse and he moves like a lightweight. He's super technical. He's got the technical ability of a Demetrius Johnson in King Kong's body. He's a proper heavyweight. He's the next generation. So that might be the reason why Jones is not taking this fight. Is he taking the fight? Is he f***ing with Tom? Or is he just sitting there having a bit of fun, right? Just typing away, tweeting away, sitting on the toilet, taking a dump, sending a few tweets and laughing his head off. It might just be that. He's just trolling everyone. I think Tom Aspinall was absolutely on the money when he said, Jon is just playing games. Is he playing games regarding the date with Stipe? I don't think so. Of course, there's got to be a date. That fight has to go down sometime. Stipe Miocic at this rate is going to be 65 years old and retired by the time this fight goes down if a date doesn't get set soon. So stay tuned for that announcement. And, oh, by the way, before I go, Ryan Garcia, not a cheater. Not a cheater. The B sample came back and it didn't test positive. So Ryan Garcia is cleared. He gets to keep all of that money that he made from the bet and from the fight. And of course, the win still stands. So well done to him because that is a terrible accusation. The media put it out there and for good reason. He tested positive, but sometimes mistakes are made in labs. Simple as that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell. What do you think about Jon Jones? What is he doing? Should he go for Alex Pereira? I mean, we know we should fight Tom Aspinall, but Alex Pereira, is that a real conversation that should take place? Or is he just taking the piss? Have a good day. Take care.